What if I told you that everything you're looking at on the right, the logo, the color palette, the product shots, the brand voice guide, the website palette, was built in a single afternoon using AI tools that most people haven't figured out yet? I'm not talking about typing, make me a logo, into some generic AI. I'm talking about a repeatable, professional grade workflow that mimics how a $20,000 branding agency would work, except you're the creative director and AI's your team. Let's go. Hi, I'm Frank from Obelisk Software, and our AI Augmented channel teaches business owners and solopreneurs how to leverage AI automations to boost their business and their brand. Today, let's focus on marketing automations. I'm going to walk you through every single step in real time for a fictional coffee brand called Meridian Attitudes Coffee, because coffee brands are brutally competitive and visually demanding. If this workflow can make coffee look this good, it'll work for your product too. And stay through to the last section. I'll show you the Google tool that almost nobody is talking about for brand building, and it's free. Before we open a single tool, I want to give you a mental model that's going to change how you interact with AI forever. Think of Gemini, Claude, and these creative AI tools as new employees on your marketing team. Talented employees. But they just started on Monday. They don't know your brand. They don't know your customer. They don't know your aesthetic. If you walk up to a brand new designer on their first day and say, make me a logo, you'll get a logo. It might even be pretty, but it won't be right because they don't have context. The difference between people who get mediocre AI results and the people who get professional results is this. The pros write a proper marketing brief. They give context, they give constraints, they give personality. They manage the AI the way a good creative director manages a team. There are three things you always give AI before asking for creative output: who the customer is, what the brand feels like, and what you do not want. We're going to do all three today. Let me show you. I'm opening Nano Banana. This is a vector-first AI design tool, and it's the one I recommend for logos because it outputs clean SVG, not a rasterized mess you can't scale. You can also ask for other image formats like JPEG. Upload your logo and ask for variations or start from scratch, right? But be sure to reference your audience. Look how these are different from a generic coffee logo output. That's because we gave it personality and told it what to avoid. The AI stopped defaulting to cliches because we closed those doors in our brief that I'll show you. I'm selecting this one, the geometric M with the word mark below. This becomes our North Star for the entire brand. Now, here's something most people don't know you can do in Nano Banana. You can use your logo directly to generate product shot mockups. Watch this. Right? Make sure you've downloaded the logo, open up another chat, ask for an image. Right? I'm dropping our SVG and I'm asking for a product mockup shot scene with a resealable coffee craft bag. I'm going to use the blue and cream sleeve, and I want a white ceramic mug with the logo. And Nano Banana is creating these wonderful photorealistic shots in seconds. This used to cost $500 per shot from a product photographer. Right? Keep creating those and create variations, right? Your logo is your visual identity, but your brand goes beyond visuals. It's a voice, it's a worldview, it's a relationship with a specific kind of customer. We're going to talk about three documents that will help you build your brand. We're building a brand voice guide, customer personas, and a color palette system. Let's start with the brand voice guide. So here's the prompt that I started out with, and it sounds generic, but it gives you a framework that then we can build on top of. So I said, I want a brand voice guide for Meridian Attitude Coffee. It's a 2-page document covering our tone, vocabulary, and what we never sound like. It's short and focused, crafting a celestial urban narrative for the modern coffee connoisseur, right? Defining identity, ritual, and reach. Our brand voice is sophisticated, calm, and aspirational, the tone that bridges the gap between urban high rise efficiency and grounded bohemian warmth. Our visual language is celestial urban, mixing midnight slates with terracotta accents, right? Max textures juxtaposed with high gloss product windows, right? Use this image in the brand voice document. So I've included, of course, our logo and an example of our coffee. Okay, and this is what Gemini returned with. Okay, it this is the document content in here. So what are the visual structures? Right, it gives the that whole notion of celestial urban palette. It also then goes into the do's and don'ts of what kind of vocabulary we're going to use, some layout specifications, and we go from there. And what you can also do is, of course, ask Gemini to expand your prompt, right? Ask it to give you a prompt to build out your brand voice document. And then you can start from there and modify it as needed. Okay, I'm going to continue on here. And it gave me the full brand voice document. Okay, it talks about brand identity and positioning, brand voice and tone. And it focuses in on our 3 core marketing pillars, right? That it's sophisticated, calm, kind of aspirational. Those are key components that we have here, right? It talks about vocabulary and what we want our ads to sound like. And we want to focus in on the ritual of coffee making, the experience of coffee making, and that brand component, right? We've got kind of celestial, kind of moon and stars on the packaging itself, right? And that also fits into our brand. What we don't sound like. Okay, so in here, you will want to have Gemini give you some ideas to start with, and then you can refine it as you like. Okay, so this is, think of this as the basis for how you're going to create ads. What do you want to say in your ads, and what you don't want to say in your ads? Okay, and that helps not only for campaigns, but it also helps for when you're creating content marketing sites, when you're creating blog posts, any other content that you're going to create. All right, finally, what's the visual language? Okay, talks a little bit about what our packaging looks like, right? What our core brand mantra is: fuel your vibe, explore your compass. So again, it gives some taglines, and then you can generate more taglines and pick the ones that you like and feed it back into this core document. Make this a living brand document. Okay. Next, I want to talk about one other key thing that is very important. You want to describe your customer, right? And one of the terms that we use for describing your customer is a persona. So in this case, I have 2 personas, and then I'm going to show you how we can add a third. So just start it with some basic language and then let Gemini build it out, and you can refine these personas as you need. But the idea is building out what your ideal customer looks like, right? So then you can target ads toward that style of customer. So, first off, we've got Marcus, our weekend ritualist. All right. So he's a landscape architect and creative director. And also, he's young, urban lifestyle, right? And we were building a whole idea around Marcus, right? So get as detailed as you like, right? Read through the content that Gemini is creating for you and help it construct how you're connecting your customer to your product. Okay, so we talk about when Marcus is buying his coffee, what would appeal to him. All right, and what are some of the media touch points specifically for him? All right, then on to our next persona. So, slightly younger persona, Priya. She is a financial analyst, tech project manager, and then we go on to describe her and how she likes her coffee. All right. Now, one persona might not be enough. So, I've actually added one additional persona. I'm adding in Hal, the salesperson who goes and takes people for coffee, will often buy pounds of that coffee as a unique gift. All right. Someone who's a huge brand advocate. So you want to take these kind of ideal customers that you know are growing segments, and you want to target your marketing towards these folks. So it's helpful to understand, how do they buy your product? When do they buy your product? Layer that all into these personas. When you give that to the AI, you will have much better targeted campaigns, ads, product shots, and also any other content, whether that's blog articles or whether you want to uh, add articles to a content marketing site online. Okay, so there we have it. All right, now the final brand document, the color palette guide. We're going to start with our logo and build the color palette. This one directly feeds into everything else we'll do with Google Pomelli in the later section. Let's look at these colors. Every name is like a place or a feeling, not just a hex code, right? It gives personality. Now I'm going to show you how Google Pomelli uses all of it to generate product photography, brand videos, and ultimately what I call a brand in a box. All right, I'm going to add our logo, and I'm going to add a number of different lifestyle shots that I've already created, as well as our bag of coffee beans. Right. What I've also done is I've uploaded our brand guidelines, our style guidelines, our persona, and our color palette documents. And I'm going to let Pomelli process those. It's got the Meridian Attitudes coffee as a starting point, and then it asks us what we would like to do. Do we want to create campaigns, create a photo shoot, or even create a website? Let's start off with a photo shoot. Okay, so let's continue on here. we're going to add in images for a photo shoot. There we go. Okay, so now it gives some kind of different examples here. All right, and these are kind of generic concepts of the use of the actual product. And now we can go in here and okay, it's using those as kind of a consumable. Right, and then it's giving us, and it notices that it's a consumable and it's not one of these other categories. Okay, so we're going to kind of a studio shot, a floating shot, an ingredient shot, and kind of a context shot. Let's go for that. All right, so here we've got uh, the a photo of the bag of coffee itself, which is great. We can now it's got a kind of a neutral background on it. We can use it in other contexts. It gave us the ingredient uh, bag. So in this case, whether we had anise in there, we had cinnamon sticks, or these are things that will augment your coffee. Um, and then we've got a product shot with someone who's going to be using their coffee in the morning, and then another product shot, folks in their kitchen. They've got their grinder ready to make their coffee. So these are all images, all on brand, and images that we could use right away. And we could just save these 4 images to assets or download all of these assets. Pomelli goes through and assembles an amazing brand book that you can use, and you can share it with a marketing agency, or you can just use it as an internal document. Okay, so I'm just going to pick, we've got a couple of different covers here. Let's go with the coffee cup. All right, and we've confirming our images here. Right, one of the things that Pomelli is going to ask us for is, do we have the necessary rights to, of course, create this? So I would say avoid any actual real logos. Uh, use your own logos. Make sure that you aren't using any kind of competitive logos in this particular context. Again, I'm using just an example brand here, but go and do your research. Probably going to do another video on doing competitive research so that you don't get any brand conflicts, and you kind of give yourself a blue ocean for your brand. Okay, I'm going to click on publish. What is amazing about this brand book is it has gone in, it's extracted the colors that we've provided. It's showing the logo in context, right? Some fonts that it suggests using, the color palette from our color palette document, right? What imagery works the best. And then it goes into what our brand voice should be. Okay, so these are all kind of, it's a summary of all of the content, and we can expand upon this, and you can provide this to your team, and you have a way to boost your brand. And essentially, Google Pomelli is functioning like a lead designer here. Okay, and this, you can create this brand book, save it as a PDF, and then feed it back into your system again. Okay, and now go. Do you see the difference? The generic prompt gives you stock photo energy, right? The brief informed prompt gives you editorial energy. Same tool with completely different output. That's the brief doing the heavy lifting. Now, let's create some videos. We're going to use VO. All right, it fits right in there, right? I fed it into VO and it translated a feeling into a visual. This is why the documentation work we did earlier isn't optional. It's the marketing engine. Now you have a visual identity and even video ads and product images to work with. I created a video about how to create a whole branded content marketing site with Claude and Claude Code. See the link in the description below. Okay, let's look at what we built today for Meridian Attitudes Coffee in about an afternoon of focused work. We've got a scalable vector logo with product shot mockups from Nano Banana, a brand voice guide with 3 customer personas, a full color system, and a full social asset pack with Google Pomelli and VO. The total agency cost for this work hired out? I don't know, somewhere between $15,000 and $40,000 and 6 weeks of timeline. Today, with the right workflow and the right briefs, 1 afternoon. The formula is context plus constraint plus character, right? That equals your AI output that sounds like a brand. This is Frank from Obelisk. Go build your brand with Gemini, Nano Banana, and Google Pomelli. And I'll see you in the next video. Get your copy of the AI Automation Handbook. Click the link in the description below.